First game of the second series here. In the quarterfinals, in the round of 8, we have MouzMana spawning in the top right as the red Protoss. In cross-map positions, we have alternate attacks aTnSocke spawning as the blue Protoss. Now, for the record, I have always changed the pronunciation of Socke's name in every tournament. Sometimes I say Sock, sometimes I say Saki, Sake.
Socke.
I don't really know what the correct pronunciation is, but either way, he's in the bottom left.
And Socke managing to take out Huck previously, as I mentioned before, was such a huge victory for him. A lot of players didn't think that Socke's PvP was that, well, obviously good, but they didn't think that it was his best. Huck is pretty good in PvP also.
Yeah.
Having trained in Korea for the past couple of weeks against top Protoss players, just like OGS Inca, and managing to lose. And actually, that's kind of a very fast gateway.
Yeah, it was a 10 pylon, 10 gateway. We did see a little bit of energy saved up at the Nexus, so there's one chrono boost going down. We do see Mana getting his gateway around 12. And honestly, players like Liquid Tyler always favor getting an earlier gateway. In fact, in all matchups, just because they love the faster cybernetics core. This could be a cheese play, though, because that's exactly what we saw aTnSocke in yesterday's games.
Yeah, all he's got to do is try to get a pylon inside the base, and he can just warp in Stalkers, and that's pretty a crazy build. And he is going to be moving up now. He knows exactly where Mana is. I have to see what he does and what the path of this probe is going to be. At the same time, though, Mana is scouting a little bit later. He's going to come up here and not find anything, but will move down to the bottom left pretty soon.
Here's the very early cybernetics core going down on 15 food. Players love getting the 10 gate and the fast core. It looks like Mana realizes nothing is in the top left, so both players can't do any sort of gimmickiness, and it looks like Socke is starting to wail away at the pylon. He will end up having to pull back in just a moment, but not going to move back until he loses all those shields. Very, very smart play.
So what do you reckon Socke's plan is in this game? Obviously going for the 10 gate and then quite a fast cybernetics core directly after the gate finishes. What's the usual progression from here?
I mean, honestly, given the fact that both players are saving up their energy, it looks like they're going to be doing a race to finish the warp gate. There it is going down for Socke. He's going to be getting one Stalker just to deny the probe scout and to put a little bit of heat on the opponent early on, but then he's going to stop all unit production, slam out a bunch of gateways, and try to warp in for the win.
And he is getting a Stalker out, skipping the Zealot, both players skipping the Zealot. Mana, though, does know the timing of the gateway and the cybernetics core, obviously coming in and see that the cybernetics core finished before his did. And there we go, the 2 extra gateways have been added in. And this Zealot, actually, by Mana, is going to take down the probe.
Oh, that is almost game-ending for Socke, as we see no probes are being produced by Socke. We do see the 4th gateway going down. Now, even though he did lose that probe, that doesn't mean that this game is done yet. We've seen KiwiKaki do a 4-gate no-gas style and just try to bust the front of the opponent, and Mana is very far behind on that gateway count.
I'd just like to note that Socke has actually cut probe production now.
Yeah, he's just chilling.
So he's just going to go all in now. I mean, he's moving this probe out to, well, the second probe, because obviously the first one died, and Wilby wanted to put a pylon down quite fast. Only one Stalker has been made. He's quit production on this first gateway, just waiting for warp gate to finish. Gonna transform all these in, but look at Mana, sees the pylon, sees the Stalker. Probe does go down, but he knows what is coming. And he does have a sentry, though, so that's going to help out a lot to defend this.
What a lot of Protoss players will do, though, is plant a pylon right here, just at the edge, peek up and warp in along the high ground. It looks like Socke is keeping that probe back and defended. There's the big Stalker push right now, so Socke is going to be able to put a ton of pressure on, and it looks like he is going to be able to throw down the force field. No vision up to the high ground. Mana is in a very tense spot. He needs to make force fields at the south end of that ramp. He needs to prevent vision up on the high ground.
And he can actually target down this pylon. That could be quite big. He's putting down the second one. Going to have to cancel the first. It is going to go down, though. None of these sentries have enough for any force fields now. He's going to let it complete. And if he gets up there, he can start warping in units.
And there's the warp in from Socke. He's blocking the ramp, and he can warp in more units up on the high ground, but he is just a little bit too low on money. Mana is doing an extremely impressive job defending, and oh no! It looks like he canceled the pylon. Socke's push at the front has been defended.
Mana defending this extremely well, warping in a couple of sentries to help use the force fields to block that off. And now, what's Socke do from here? I mean, he's getting a second assimilator in the base and adding on a robotics facility, but if we look at the production, I mean the unit counting station, he's a couple of pros behind because he did cut pro production.
Yeah, I just cannot emphasize enough how brilliant that defense was by Mana. He clearly needed both of those force fields thrown down at the exact times And honestly, if he had misclicked any in that battle, he would have lost immediately. But here he is in the resource station. We do see that Mana is a full 10 food ahead of his opponent, and Socke is looking very far behind.
What do you reckon Socke could do from here? He's getting the robotics facility up. He's probably going to go for an observer first to find out exactly what's going on in his opponent's base. But how does he transition from here? Having this rush that failed, and now he's slightly on the back foot. What is the best thing to do?
The best thing in this spot is for him to go for a relatively fast expansion. He has these quick units, the Stalkers outside the front. As we see, Mana is getting the Immortal. Mana really is forced to be very defensive for quite some time because he's seen a 4 warp gate. There's still potential threats of units sprinting up to the high ground, so really Mana cannot scout, so Socke needs to take advantage of the fact that no scouting will come and throw down some kind of Nexus. It looks like the Stargate is coming up by Socke, and this is honestly something that I'm very confused by.
That is kind of confusing. Why does he also have the Cybernetics core being chrono boosted?
I don't know, and also I zoomed
weird.
in, so let's go ahead and back on out again. Great, perfect. So now it looks like Socke is now getting that Immortal out, might want to take down the Destructible Rocks and go for a backdoor Expo. Very reasonable way to play. He has a smaller ramp to defend.
The Robotics Bay has been put down for Mana at the back of his base. So we have 3 gate and a Robo, and now he is going to be able to get Colossus out. And is he going to be putting down an expansion? The way he's put this pylon down, it looks like he will be trying to get an expansion down on his natural down here. And the Stargate has finished, and we are seeing Phoenixes being built.
This is so weird by Socke. I mean, it makes sense because Phoenix is great unit to use against the Colossus, also very good in isolating specific units in this mix. If you can, for instance, lift an Immortal up, your Stalkers can be so much stronger. And it looks like Socke is going to be going for a little bit of an expansion of his own, but, I mean, Mana is forced to be so passive. I mean, not only did he have to defend the 4 gate, but now he is expanding and getting the Colossus, both of which delay pushes.
Second Phoenix is being made right now, and the Observer for Mana is going to come in, and he's probably going to be able to scout the Stargate. He's going to, well, he sees a Phoenix with the Observer, and he's going to move across now and see the Stargate. Oh, he doesn't actually see it, though. Doesn't know where it is.
Looks like the Phoenix now darting past this vision in the center for Mana. He knows the Phoenix is coming. That's just such a weird choice of units. Looks like Socke is expanding to the nose region of the southern Happy Face expansion. Very good to get that defense up early on. Looks like Socke is going to be able to poke around here, spot the Expo, will take a few hits, but no permanent damage. Permanent damage! Will he lose it? And no, it escapes with 50 health.
Manages to survive. Just looking at the southern smiley face, can a Colossus climb up on the edges there?
Yeah, it actually can. If I make cunning use of this delete key, I can show you that this is a walk-upable, downable terrain, and it looks like that probe did get picked up and blasted down. Range coming up for the Colossus as well.
The Nexus has almost finished now by Socke, getting a pylon next to it as well. Kind of interested what the reason for going up for all these Phoenixes are, because I mean the composition of Mana, he's going to have a ton of Stalkers along with his Colossus, obviously sentries as well, and he's not likely to pick them, well, to take down the Colossus at all, unless, like you said, he could be able to do stuff like this by picking up the Stalker, and he has got enough energy to re-pick it up again to take it down.
Wow, managing to take it out with 1 lift, 3 Phoenixes, very, very key number. That's when you can really begin doing the damage. Back Expo up for Socke. Now, the one thing to note, big misclick. The one thing to note about what Socke is doing that I think is quite smart, he's going for the faster units. He's going for the big, hardcore defensive Immortals, but then he's using these fast, nimble little Phoenixes to pick things off, to isolate units, just like that Stalker, just like the probes at the Watchtower. And with these distances, Socke can really just expand and force the game to go on longer and longer.
Which way would Socke expand to a third? Would he go down to his natural, or would he continue to go right, would you say?
I think that going for the natural is smart, getting 2 expansions as far away from your opponent as possible. But look at this, it looks like, ooh, Socke accidentally missing this probe. But really, anything that is an outlying unit is vulnerable to these Phoenixes.
These Phoenixes are actually working quite well for him. He's getting a lot of map control, denying any form of scouting, though this probe is going to come, the probe is going to come out. He will sit with this Phoenix. Will he decide to come back and try to take it out, though? Stalker's forcing these Phoenix outside of the base. They are going to be traveling back. This probe puts a pylon down, and it is going to be scouted by this Phoenix. He's going to drive right past it and see it, and he will pick it up.
There is the pick off, managing to erase that. Look at this force by Sock, has so many Immortals in the resource station. We do see, wow, very close in food. We even see the +1 air weapons going up for Sake. Extremely unusual play. He needs to begin picking off these Colossi if he wants to be able to do anything. Picks off a Sentry. Excellent unit to get, as it does prevent lots of damage from the Stalkers, from the Immortals. But Mana is in a very, very strong position.
Because of the HP of Sentries, you can actually snipe them so fast. It's literally half a second and it is gone, especially with this amount of Phoenixes. Has to be careful from losing them. But here comes the attack from Mana. He's going to be going up the ramp. Does have the Colossus range upgrade. +1 air weapons, not quite done for Sock yet though.
And here's the advance forward. He's trying to lift up units and pick off those essential Colossi, but the Zealots of Mana are doing a lot of damage. The Immortals from Sake are also contributing to the fight. It does look like those Immortals are not doing enough damage. He's lifting up the Immortals. Now Sake is running very, very low on units. Mana looks like he is doing a ton of damage. The Phoenix play is not enough. And look at that huge force by Mana. The BYOC player advancing so far into the invite player Sake's base. And it looks like there's very little that Sake can do.
There's not much he can do at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a GG. There's hardly anything to do. He is warping in a couple more Zealots to try to deal with this, and GG is
good game. Oof. Wow.
Wow.
Wowza zowza. You know, honestly, in that match, I do like the choice of Phoenixes, but I mean, really getting caught at an extremely awkward angle, and what makes it hard in Mana's position